One of the key plot points that's in the background, actually not really known about at all until it's revealed in Chapter 12 of Philip K. Dick's novel The Man in the High Castle, is what they call Operation Dandelion. And it's got a rather innocuous name, but it's the title for a plot, or rather grand plan, a grand strategy plan for the Nazis to dominate the globe. Currently in the story, we have three main Axis powers that have won World War II, and now it's decades later. We have the German Reich, we have the Japanese Empire, and then we have the very much smaller and weaker Italian Empire, which is largely aligned with the Reich. And the Reich is, in many respects, more powerful than the Japanese Empire and co-prosperity sphere. And they also have this constant expansionist tendency, this need that has been noted earlier in the novel through the eyes and the words and thoughts of several characters, to always transgress, to go beyond, to launch themselves into bigger and bigger projects. And what could be a bigger project than complete global domination? And so what we find out is there's a meeting that's been arranged between two high-level officials, and one of which is, very high, former retired general in the Japanese Empire, and then we have the Abwehr operative, Rudolf Wegner, who has been posing as a Swedish businessman. And Mr. Tagomi has organized this in order to provide them with a sort of cover. So first the general shows up and they offer him tea, and he doesn't want to take it. And then Tagomi says, "This Mr. Baynes, who I've met and entertained in my home, declares himself a Swede, yet perusal persuades one he is in fact a highly placed German of some sort." And then he says, his agitation concerning this meeting causes me to infer a connection with the political upheavals in the Reich. And the general says, "You're fishing, not actually informing me." And then Baynes comes in and introduces himself. He says, "Sir, I am Captain R. Wegner of the Reich's Naval Counterintelligence." That's what Abwehr is. "As understood, I represent no one but myself and certain private unnamed individuals, no departments or bureaus of the Reich government of any sort." The general then responds, "Herr Wegner, I understand that you in no way officially allege representation of any branch of the Reich government. I am here as an unofficial private party who, by virtue of former position with the Imperial Army, can be said to have access to circles in Tokyo who desire to hear whatever you have to say." And Tagomi says to himself, "Weird discourse, but not unpleasant, certain near musical quality to it, refreshing relief, in fact." And so this is all the setup for the exchange of information and the decision that now is going to have to be made. So Baynes says, "Without preamble, I would like to inform you and those who have access to, that there is in advanced stage in the Reich a program called Löwenzahn Dandelion." "Yes," the general said, nodding as if he'd heard this before, but Mr. Tagomi said he seemed quite eager for Baynes to go on. So what is Operation Dandelion? Well, it's essentially got three parts to it. The first part, he says, Baynes says, "Dandelion consists of an incident on the border of the Rocky Mountain states and the United States. U.S. troops will be attacked and will retaliate by crossing the border and engaging the regular Rocky Mountain states troops stationed nearby. The U.S. troops have detailed maps showing Midwest Army installations. This is step one. Step two consists of the declaration of Germany regarding the conflict. A volunteer detachment of Wehrmacht paratroopers will be sent to aid the U.S. However, this is further camouflage." So what we've got is what we nowadays call a false flag operation, kind of similar to what the Nazis did to enable them to invade Poland, right? So it's not unprecedented. In fact, you could say it's a Nazi old ruse, an MO that they're going to be doing. So that's the first part, and it's creating a distraction. The second part is where the knockout punch comes. So he says the basic purpose of Operation Dandelion is an enormous nuclear attack on the home islands without advance warning of any kind. And Tedeki says, with the purpose of wiping out royal family, home defense army, most of imperial navy, civil population, industries, resources, leaving overseas possession for absorption by the Reich. And so that would be the third part, this absorption of all of the Japanese holdings outside of Japan itself being absorbed by the Third Reich, which then would have global domination. So this is some pretty incredible, horrific evil that is being planned out, not just for members of the Japanese co-prosperity sphere or the Japanese elite, but really worldwide, because the Japanese, they're not great, but at least from, we could say, ethical perspectives, they're not terrible either, whereas the Reich clearly is. So then this leads to a issue. When is it supposed to happen? And, Baynes says, well, things have been moved up. At least I presume. I'm not in contact with the Abwehr now. And then he says, you need to think about the Reich's factions. He says, we recommend the Japanese government enter into the Reich's domestic situation, or at least that was what I came here to recommend. Certain groups in the Reich favor Operation Dandelion. Certain others do not. It was hoped that those opposing it would come to power upon the death of Chancellor Bormann, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And so the general says, well, okay, who's for, who's against? Well, Goebbels, who is going to take power, as we're going to see, Goebbels is an advocate of Dandelion. And then Tedeki says, who stands opposed? SS General Heydrich. And he says, I'm taken by surprise. Is this legitimate information or only a viewpoint which you and your colleagues hold? And he says, well, let me spell it out for you. Administration of the East, the area held by Japan, would be the Foreign Office, Rosenberg's people. This was a bitterly disputed issue in many sessions between the principals last year. I have photostats of the notes taken. The police demanded authority but were turned down. They are to manage space colonization. That's going to be their domain. Once this division of authority was settled, the police put all their weight behind the space program and against Dandelion. So Heydrich is not actually opposed because he's got moral problems with it, as we know. He's actually pretty terrible, but because he wasn't going to get part of the spoils. And so Tedeki says, rivalry. One group played against another by the leaders, so he's never challenged. And then Baynes says, so that's why I'm here. I'm to plead for your intervention. It is still possible to intervene. The situation is still fluid. It'll be months before Dr. Goebbels can consolidate his position. He'll have to break the police, possibly have Heydrich and other top SS and SD leaders executed. Once that's done, and then now we get to thinking about, well, what is this going to entail, intervening in the Reich's domestic situation? It involves supporting people in order to prevent an evil, supporting people that you know are evil to the very core. And so Tedeki says the emperor would never tolerate this policy. He regards the Reich's elite corps, wherever the black uniform is worn, the death head, the castle system, all to him is evil. And here we get Tagomi reflecting on this, saying, evil, Mr. Tagomi thought. Yes, it is. Are we to assist it in gaining power in order to save our lives? Is that the paradox of our earthly situation? And then Tagomi says, I cannot face this dilemma. The man should have to act in such moral ambiguity. There is no way, capital W, no Tao, right? No place to go in this. All is muddled. A chaos of light and dark. And Tedeki is going to be saying, listen, the SD, the Secret Dienstheit, the people that are under Heydrich, They are the most malignant part of the Nazi regime, German society. We're supposed to support these horrible people. And Barnes goes on and says, the moral practices of the black shirts exceed in ferocity that of the Wehrmacht, the regular army, but their power is less. We should reflect solely on reality, on actual power, not on ethical intentions. And then notice Tagomi, who's just brought up this, paradox and muddle, says, yes, we must be realists. So if they're going to do this, they have to make a decision that they are going to put aside ethical considerations, normal ethical considerations, to support a part of the Nazi regime taking power, which is very, very evil in many, many respects, right? Malignant, ferocious are the words used to describe them, precisely to keep Operation Dandelion from happening. And so they start thinking about the ins and outs of how this is going to work, how they can actually reach Heydrich and Baynes or the spy. Wegner actually says, listen, we're not going to get to him through the Abwehr. They've been trying to eliminate us for a long time. The entire faction hates our guts. Maybe somebody else. How are we going to reach this Heydrich faction? So that is a significant problem. And then what we see ending up happening in the very end of the work is that Wegner goes back to Germany. He gets arrested at the airport, and it's actually the SD men who take him in, and he finds out that Heydrich is with Sepp Dietrich at the OKW of the Leibstandarte division. There's going to be a rift now between the Wehrmacht, the army, and the SD and the SS that are being run here. And it looks like Goebbels is actually losing the power that he has. Maybe the Goebbels government will fall after all, Wegner thought, as he was ushered into the waiting staff sedan. And he says, but what does it matter? And this is a really key idea here. Even if Dr. Goebbels is deposed and Operation Dandelion is canceled, they will still exist. The black shirts, the Partei, the schemes, if not in the Orient, then somewhere else, on Mars and Venus. And he thinks to himself, no wonder Mr. Tagomi could not go on. Now, Mr. Tagomi, we should mention, had to shoot with his antique pistol 2 SD men and was having a rather rough time with the fact that in order to save one life, he had to destroy 2. No wonder Mr. Tagomi could not go on. The terrible dilemma of our lives. Whatever happens, it is evil beyond compare. Why struggle then? Why choose if the alternatives are the same? Evidently, we go on as we always have from day to day. At this moment, we work against Operation Dandelion. Later, at another moment, we work to defeat the police, but we cannot do it all at once. It is a sequence, an unfolding process. We can only control the end by making a choice at each step. And this is the problematic situation of ethical action. Now, actually, 2 sides to it. One is that you cannot engage in ethical action within a universe that is as screwed up as it is without collaborating with, without fostering, without permitting some evil yourself in order to prevent evil, in order to combat evil, right? So that could be very demoralizing. And then the other part that's demoralizing, you can't do it all at once. There are no perfect solutions. There is no way to snap your fingers and have good realized automatically because of that. And then he thinks to himself, we can only hope and try. On some other world, possibly it is different, better. There are clear good and evil alternatives, not these obscure admixtures, these blends with no proper tool by which to untangle the components. We do not have the ideal world. such as we would like, where morality is easy because cognition is easy, where one can do right with no effort because he can detect the obvious. In a world, an alternate history in which the Axis powers won, there isn't any easy solutions like that. It's picking between greater and lesser evils and using prudence to do that. So what they've decided is that, at least, Tagomi, the general, Wegner, all the people that they're representing, resisting Operation Dandelion, which would be a destruction of the entire Japanese society and power base and absorption by the Reich. That is the greater evil that has to be resisted by collaborating with human beings and entire, associations and societies that are themselves thoroughly, in many complex ways, evil as well. So it seems like you have to take evil in one way or another, but that's part of how you also resist evil, at least in this world that Dick has sketched out for us.